there was a moment, and this is right before, Karl, you joined CEB back in 2010. I'd been out on the road presenting the Challenger work for a year at that point. And I walked into Matt Dixon's office and I said, just the way this is being received, this needs to be a book. And this feels like very much like that moment. I've been out keynoting and presenting at sales kickoffs and other places, this content to incredible reception. The people that are seeing this are saying the same thing to me that they said when they saw Challenger. It was like, this changes everything. It's Brent Adamson here, and I'm super excited to share with you some of our thoughts as we are writing the next book, which we've mentioned a couple times on LinkedIn. I'm joined today by my co-author, Karl Schmidt. Karl, how you doing, man?
Great, Brent. Great to be here.
We're working on the next book. The book comes out in the fall of next year, which seems like an eternity in most ways, doesn't it, Karl? But in some ways, it seems like tomorrow. We thought we'd take you guys on the journey and just share with you sort of our thoughts as we build out these ideas, build out the training and the keynotes that go along with it. Talk a little bit about our experience of sort of learning how to take a body of research and turn it into something that can help the sales profession. The process of publishing a book can be fraught. And one of the things that is most fraught is, as you've learned, choosing the bleeping title. Tell us your...
Yeah.
Reflect on that for me, Karl. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on picking a title for a book.
Well, and I obviously worked together for many years at CEB and then Gartner, and we always had to come up with a title for any of the big research studies we did. And that was similarly a bit tricky. The challenge of finding something we all love has been, it's been surprising how long it's taken us. And obviously we still haven't finalized it. So, for today, we can share the working title, but probably, there's a decent chance it might change yet again.
And what's interesting, I think, when you write a book, I don't know if it's 40, 60, 60, 40, 50, 50, but one way or another, you've got to reach consensus across not just the two authors, that is you and me, but against the two authors, the editor, and then this group of people behind the editor who are like the publisher marketing department. We all have to feel like this is a winner of a title. Isn't that right?
Well, it's like so much of my experience across many companies, from consulting and as an executive, et cetera. You may think you have the power to make a decision, but then you discover how many people have a veto, and it's a lot.
It's so funny, right? Because writing a book is not unlike trying to get a B2B purchase across the finish line. There is, not to be silly about it, but there's really like a lot of the themes that we're writing about in this book about how B2B buyers struggle to buy are not unlike how B2B authors struggle to author. So why don't we, there's a couple things I think would be good to share in this first episode is, obviously, tell me, book, you guys are writing a book. What's the book about? So I imagine that's what everyone wants to know. So we're going to talk about that, at least get into like an initial tease and at least a quick thought on what the book's about. Why don't we do this, Karl? Let's maybe start with this bar chart when we'll pull up in a second. And let's save the title until the last. Stick around, and once we walk through sort of what we're talking about at a broad level of maybe the book title that we're at least landed on for now, tentatively, will make sense. Does that sound good? All right. So let me pull up a data point, and it's a data point that we first encountered or generated, actually not just encountered, while we were actually all the way back in CEB days, wasn't it? But the punchline is the single biggest driver of what we call a high quality, low regret deal. That is a deal where the customer buys the bigger purchase, makes the bigger purchase with the broader scope, with the higher price point, and feels good about it at the same time. And over the years, in the marketing practice and the sales practice, working with you, Karl, working with a bunch of other of our colleagues that and good friends of ours, we built out all sorts of different models, testing what are the things that actually make that happen. What are the things that need to happen in a purchase experience, whether it's something that sales does, something that marketing does, a sales rep does, whether it's something that happens on the customer side. I don't know how many different attributes we tested, whether it's sales activities, whether it's marketing content attributes, whether it's buying group makeup or buying group demographics. We've tested scores of different attributes, trying to figure out which of those attributes ultimately contribute to the likelihood of a high quality, low regret deal. And what we found, by far, let me sound fancy. Hold on, I'll sound fancy for a second. By orders of magnitude. There we go. So but it was like there's a massive difference. There's this one attribute in particular that jumped out way ahead of everything else in increasing the likelihood of a high quality, low regret deal. And that's what you see on this bar chart here. And that is the degree to which the customers, the B2B buyers involved in high complex purchases that we were surveying, the degree that they reported a high level or high degree of what we come to call decision confidence. That is the degree to which they feel confident as a buying group in the decision that they're making on behalf of their company is by far the single biggest driver of the likelihood of a high quality, low regret deal. If you're a seller, if you're a sales organization, if you're a supplier, and you're trying to increase the likelihood of doing these bigger, higher quality deals, the thing you want to solve for more than anything else is whether or not your customers feel confident in making that decision.
It's exactly right, because at the core of everything we're talking about in the book, and I suspect we'll get to the title shortly, is this dynamic of what any of us on the commercial side need to be focused on, which is to increase this aspect of decision confidence for the buyer. And it's important, and Brian, I'm sure you can get this in a second, but this distinction between what do we really mean by confidence? Because this isn't the confidence in how good the supplier's product is, or their ability to deliver, or how strong their brand is, or that they've been around for 150 years. It's that confidence in them. It's that self-confidence that's so key.
But the thing that's so interesting about that 10.2x that looks so weirdly formatted is this, that what this bar chart is telling you is when customers report a high degree of decision confidence, they are not 10% more likely, they are 10 times more likely to buy a high quality, low regret deal. So again, that is quite literally orders of magnitude higher. And it's like if you could 10x the likelihood of your customers buying a high quality, low regret deal, that's something you'd want to think about. And it stands to reason in some ways there's a logic to this, which is if customers aren't confident in the decision they're making on behalf of their company, they're going to choose not to choose. And in some ways it feels really obvious, doesn't it? But how many of us can sort of hand on heart say that the number one thing that we're solving for in our go-to-market motions, whether it's sales or marketing, is we're solving for customers' confidence. That's the conclusion I've come to, and why I felt this was really worth a book is I think what it tells us, we have to run everything through the lens of confidence. What are we doing to solve for their degree of decision confidence? And that's where what I think might seem like, well, duh, Brent, they have to be confident. That's where this thing takes this weird left turn, because while we can all say, yeah, of course, we want customers to be confident in us, confident in our brand, confident in our people. We want to be the trusted advisor. We want to have the best brand. We want to be a thought leader. What's interesting is when you unpack those dimensions of confidence, what you find is none of them have anything specific to do with the supplier at all. This isn't how confident are we in you, it's how confident we are in us. And that is the core reframe of this book that we're writing, because if you look at the data, if we look at all our shared and common experience in B2B, we all can, I think, agree, and we can see it in the research. There are a number of very dramatic challenges that are dramatically undermining customer confidence right now. Things like decision complexity, information overload, objective misalignment, outcome uncertainty. And if customers are up against these challenges undermining their confidence, and confidence is the number one driver of high quality, low regret deal, you can see how we as suppliers, if we don't do something about this, are potentially setting ourselves up, or are just set up for a world of hurt. And so it begs this question, what can we do about it? What can we do as a sales organization, as a sales team, as a sales professional, for that matter, as a marketing team, to help solve for customers' confidence in themselves in a world that seems out to undermine their confidence at every step?
I think that's spot on. And I think that's ultimately it's the potential to help so many sales teams, leaders, sellers, the broader commercial team, to actually find ways to help these customers overcome the challenges you just mentioned. It's just so much the core of where we see the difference, the opportunity to make a difference. And again, that's why we're writing the book. I think there's an awful lot of people, both on the sales side, but also on the buying side, that will benefit from this revised approach.
We'll come to the table with another picture next time. But one of the things that when you look at these challenges that are really, customers are facing, they're undermining their confidence, you look at what sellers could do to bolster that confidence, to overcome those challenges, and you step back and look at all of those different techniques and tactics and tools that sellers can use to help customers feel more self-confidence. They all have sort of the same common set of attributes. And it's that common set of attributes that we've become really interested in, because that's the solution set. And I'm gonna tease you on that, but we'll tell you maybe in a future. Well, we will tell you in a future episode what the name of that approach is and what it looks like and what it feels like, because that then becomes the core. If this is the core problem of the book, that becomes even more importantly the core solution of the book. Is how can we as a sales organization, as sales professionals, go to market in such a way and engage customers in such a way that is specifically designed to help them feel more confident, not so much in you, but in themselves. So right now, the tentative title, by the way, could change. Stay tuned in bookstores near you. starting in the fall of 2025, you'll be able to buy a book called The Confident Customer. And The Confident Customer will lay out step by step what we can do about this in a sales organization to help customers feel more confident themselves in making a large scale purchase on behalf of their company, ultimately driving growth. As you know, Karl, I don't really particularly like writing books. It's painful for me. So but this one's worth it because I think this is a story that needs to get out there. So stay tuned. More to come. We'll show up sometime. I don't know, Karl, we got to figure out it's a week from now, 2 weeks from now, but sometime soon we will appear in your LinkedIn feed yet again with another episode of Selling the Big Picture, and we'll bring a big picture and tell you a little bit more about what we're working on. And if you, in the meantime, got questions you'd like to tell us what you'd like to know about in our book adventure, whether it's about the process of writing a book or the content itself, let us know what you'd like us to address, the questions you like answered, and cheers, everybody.